after not sleeping for 8 days, you start hallucinating pretty bad. SWAT teams came. I heard the SWAT team, helicopters circling. The front door got busted open. The ambulance came down. I heard my mom out there screaming and yelling, saying he's dead, leave him alone. On 2, I heard 1, 2, and on 3, I kicked the door open, and I was standing in the middle of a hallway in my underwear by myself. None of it was really happening, but for me, it was the clearest sign.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Welcome back to the show, guys. Got a very special guest for you guys today, the sales goat, Eric Cline. How's it going?
Going good, man. I appreciate you having me out here.
Absolutely. So I got to know how you got this nickname, the sales goat.
Yeah, so all my businesses have been virtually over the phone. And the reason is back 14 years when I got into sales, I was very insecure about the way I looked. I went down to South Florida to go to treatment, kick a problem. I got out. Prior to that, I was in construction. And when I started going for jobs, everyone was denying me jobs. I was trying to go into like just a normal job, not in construction.
Right.
I was getting denied because of all the tattoos I have.
Got it.
So there was a guy that gave me a shot on the phones in a call center. And for the last 14 years, man, I've just been ripping it over the phone because I didn't think people would buy from me the way I looked. So I'm like, if I can just hide behind a phone and get good at that, and I've been able to build a very successful career off of selling stuff over the phone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you still see success in 2023 over the phone?
Massive success.
Really?
Yeah, massive success.
Because I feel like people are kind of more closed off, right?
Yes and no, man. Like it happened, and it kind of forced people to have to do stuff over the phone.
Right.
And it's one of those things I look at, whatever you can do in person, I can scale quicker, faster, more efficient over the phones because I can reach more people and I can track my team's KPIs.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what products have you seen success with over the phone?
So I've had I've done debt consolidation when I was working for somebody, debt consolidation, credit repair, ADT home alarms. And then when I went out on my own for the first time ever starting to be an entrepreneur, I got into the timeshare exit space where I help people break timeshare contracts.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was in that space for about a decade. Started off in my bedroom banging the phones with my wife.
Yeah.
And we ended up growing that in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I ended up growing it to having over 150 people in my office.
Damn.
Yeah, we were doing all inbound traffic. I had a call center with 100 closers in it. And I'd run that thing from 9 in the morning till 2 in the morning.
Wow.
And we, in 2018, I had built it finally up to, we were doing about 34 million.
Damn, a year?
Yeah, a year.
Holy
Yep.
crap.
Ran it at about I think it was a 43% profit margin.
So you were making 10 mil a year?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had a partner, but I had 2 partners. One of the partners was my wife, though.
Okay.
So, I mean, at the peak of it, her and I were netting about 8 million a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's insane money.
Yeah.
Especially in Florida, no state tax.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So what'd you spend it all on?
So, yeah, funny story. So from coming from absolutely nothing, because from 13 to 28, man, I was heavily addicted to and alcohol. And at 28 years old, everyone says, how'd you get clean? And it was life or death. Like there was no other option. I was either gonna die, and it was very clear the path I was headed down. At 28, I was 135 pounds. I had, went on an 8-day run, and I was locked in my room for literally 8 days. Just the dope man coming to the back door, serving me up what I needed. And after not sleeping for 8 days, you start hallucinating pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I heard, this is a long answer to your question, but SWAT teams came. I heard the SWAT team, helicopters circling. The front door got busted open, and the ambulance came down. I heard my mom out there screaming and yelling, saying he's dead, leave him alone. My brother was out there crying, trying to argue to get himself in the room. And the paramedics got everybody back, and they said on 3, we're going to kick the door in and go in and revive your son. And on 2, I heard 1, 2, and on 3, I kicked the door open, and I was standing in the middle of a hallway in my underwear by myself.
Whoa.
None of it was really happening, but for me, it was the clearest sign. You're either going to die, dude, or you need to get your together.
Wow.
So I say that to say, at 28, that happened. At 30, I started my own business. I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know, prior to that, I couldn't pay my own cell phone bill. Mm-hmm. So me and my wife, when we started our business, it happened really fast for us. Mm-hmm. So I went from being a degenerate addict with $8 in my bank account to making millions of dollars.
Within 2 years.
Quick.
Yeah.
It happened very fast. It was almost unreal to how fast it happened for us. And so by the time it all happened, when you say, what'd you spend it on? So real quick, I'm living in a $7 million house in Fort Lauderdale. I got a $2 million house in Chicago, a $2 million house in the Keys,
Damn.
All the fancy cars. And in 2018, we were getting ready to exit the business.
Yeah.
There was a private equity firm that we were under a letter of intent with, an LOI. They were buying 51% of the business for $54 million.
Wow.
I was retaining 49% of it for a second sale. And 60 days before our sale was to go due, and we were to close on that, I ended up getting sued by 2 of the biggest timeshare developers in the world.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can't say the names, obviously, because of my settlement.
Yeah.
But I went from making a lot of money, recklessly spending in a way, to my revenue, my income completely getting shut off.
Because you were only doing the timeshare offer at the time.
I went all in on one thing.
Right.
And so when your income gets shut off and you have everything me and my wife had, I panicked as a grown man.
Yeah.
I have a wife, I have kids, and I was like, man, what the heck am I gonna do?
Right.
So we started selling everything off. Thank God my wife had everything structured the way she did, so we walked. I ended up having to settle that lawsuit for millions of dollars.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
And it must have been super stressful too.
It was 2.5 years.
Oh my, they dragged that on.
Dragged it.
That's what they want to do. Whenever there's a big shark coming at you, they want it to drag on.
It was literally Wall Street taking out the little guy.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Because at the end of the day, the timeshare model, they securitized that paper on the back end, and then they would sell that paper off. Well, 65% of my business model was disrupting their paper.
Wow. Yeah, no. I've seen it, man. My friend just got sued by Nike, and they dragged it on for 2-3 years.
Yeah. The worst part of all of that is my insurance company on my business didn't cover my loss.
Oh, why didn't they cover it?
I was in a lawsuit with them too because they wouldn't cover it.
Whoa.
So when I threw the towel in, Sean, it was 2.5 years in. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was stressed to the max.
Yeah.
Because my lawyers were telling me you can't do anything because we don't want them to tie in another business to this. So it was 3 in the morning. I woke my wife up, and I'm like, honey, I don't care what these guys want. If we have to give them everything, start from scratch, I said, give me 1.5 years and I'll get it all back for us.
Wow. So you had to give up everything?
No, we didn't. Yeah, we ended up walking. Thank God we ended up walking with millions of dollars, but it wasn't what we had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was still stressful.
Yeah.
But the reset for me was way different than when I very first started.
Right. It wasn't as bad because
you
were at rock bottom before that.
Yeah, rock bottom.
Yeah. So after that happened, did you find another offering?
No, they said the private equity firm that we were under contract with, an LOI, they said, you beat the first lawsuit, because we only had one at the time. Mm-hmm. He goes, we're going to stick with you, and we'll actually acquire the company with one lawsuit. 30 days later, another lawsuit. And they're like, we're out.
Yeah, too risky for them.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So what did you start selling after the timeshare stuff?
It took about a year and a half just trying to figure out what I was going to do, man.
So you didn't work for a year and a half.
I did, but it was just poking my head in different industries,
Right.
seeing if it would catch my attention and catch my, really my heart. Like I believe if you believe in what you're doing, it makes it really easy to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So for a year and a half, I was just kind of all over the place. And I remember telling my wife, like, man, I was really good at getting people out of timeshares, and I had to injunct myself from that industry.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed back in it. And she's like, Eric, you weren't good at getting people out of timeshares. You were good at sales and marketing.
Mm.
She's like, at the end of the day, we owned a sales and marketing company.
Right.
And a fulfillment. So I ended up 2.5 years ago jumping into the wholesaling real estate space, wholesaling real estate contracts.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that for 2.5 years, and first 12 months, never knew anything about it, never heard of the industry. Someone was like, hey, this model was very similar to what you were doing. I hear you talking about what you used to do. You should try this one. And from the first call I made, 12 months later, I did 2.6 million and ran it at a 58% profit margin.
Whoa, just by yourself?
I had 2 closers with me.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. In your first year?
First 12 months.
So you're just great at sales, basically.
Virtual selling.
Yeah.
I do it over the phone. If I were to try and sell you something like this, I get uncomfortable. I love having a phone to my ear.
Usually it's the other way around, I feel like. People are better in person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's how I started and how I've did my career for 14 years.
So what are some common mistakes you see people make on the phone that you think it kind of ruins the deal?
One, they forget, like in person, you lose probably 90% of it. Like when I see you, I can see everything about you. Good looking dude, you got yourself put together, the way you're sitting, paying attention to me, looking in the face. Well, they forget all that.
Right.
That you don't have that over the phone. What we have is our voice, the tonality of it, the voice fluctuations, the pauses, and so I have this 5-step dummy-proofed sales process for virtually selling.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something I'm in the wholesale space. Like I've branded myself as the virtual sales goat. And I would say the most common mistake is when you call somebody over the phone, you have to get them engaged immediately.
Right.
Because we don't know what they're doing on the other side of the phone. They could be washing their car, they could be playing with their kids, and you want to get their full attention. So I'm a firm believer in the very beginning, within the first minute and a half, you got to get them somehow engaged doing something you're asking them to do. So on all of our calls, when we call somebody, within like the first 30 seconds to a minute, we're having them grab a pen and paper, jotting all of our information down so we know we're now in control of that call.
Love it. That's smart.
Yeah, because at the end, no matter what you're selling, you're going to be asking for an order. Mm-hmm. Whether you're asking them for money or whatever it is you're selling. And if they have your name down, the name of your company, your telephone number, all that, the last thing you want at the end of a call is for someone to say, and what's your name again? Because they don't have a clue who they're even buying from.
That's a bad sign.
So it's something so many people overlook, but over the phone, it's so crucial, man.
And are you following a script or are you winging each call?
Yeah, so in my industry, I'm now notorious for my 11-page script.
Oh, 11 pages?
11 pages.
Damn, that's a long script.
Yeah. So I've literally, in the wholesale industry, I have scripted this thing out. If you can read and you have my script, you can have success in this industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that easy?
I swear to you, my script has changed the game in this space.
Oh my gosh. So like what can someone make if they start doing this?
I mean, I got a girl a lady I worked with in Chicago. She was an IT. She had a full-time IT job doing $140,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Last year, she was dabbling in wholesaling. She did $70,000 doing it part-time.
Nice.
And then she came to me and she's like, hey, can you help me? And I was like, what's your goal? And she goes, I want to match what I did, or I want to double what I did last year. So she wanted to do $140,000.
Right.
And I was like, all right, well, my goal for you is to be able to, you quit your job and not double, but triple what you did. And in 12 weeks, she made $85,000.
Whoa, that's insane. How many people a day was she calling?
Not a lot at all. And
Serious?
yeah, when she even told me, she's like, Eric, you would be so upset because I'm barely working doing this. She's like, I'm creating a lifestyle around it.
Wow,
Which is great, man. It's virtual. You can do it from wherever you want.
that's impressive.
Yeah, man.
So you're basically matching buyers of homes to sellers with wholesale, right? Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
Yeah, so I'm in 6 states: North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Indiana, Ohio, might be one more. So I own a call center overseas that we generate. They do all the heavy lifting. I send them bulk data.
Okay.
They call people and they say, are you interested in selling your? So a qualified lead to me is if they say they'll sell their house in 12 months or 6 months or less, and they say they're open to hearing an offer. I want my team to speak to that person.
Okay.
There's more criterias, but that's the gist of it.
Got it.
So we get anywhere between 40 to 50 leads a day from the call center. Plus I run some PPC ads. And then every 21 leads, we get a contract.
Wow, so you're closing 2 a day then?
2.6 deals a day.
Amazing. And how are you finding the buyers?
So my partner in the business, he does all the dispositions.
Yeah.
So we've leveraged the MLS a lot. There's something called the flat fee MLS where you don't have to be a realtor or anything like that. You can go through a company. It's called Broker Lists, and we are able to list our properties on the flat fee MLS, and it just casts in a wide net of people looking for whether it's an investment property or they want to move into it.
Interesting.
With their family, yeah.
Wow, so you're basically middlemaning a real estate deal.
100%. We don't, unless we can steal a property, we don't buy it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what range are you typically aiming for, like value of the house?
Great question. So our model, Sean, is I buy all absentee owner data, meaning every contract that we do, the homeowner actually doesn't live in the house.
Okay.
So they have maybe a vacant home or they got tenants living in it.
Got it.
Because right now, when I came into this industry, I was like, what's the lowest hanging fruit? I want to go after a home where I don't have to kick a family out. It's a landlord that wants to kick a tenant out that more than likely isn't paying him what he should be getting in rent.
Right.
So in my head, I'm like, that's the lowest hanging fruit. And so we buy absentee owner data. The value of the home, we always keep under 300 grand. And then we want the owner to have 20 to 100% equity in the house. And then we only target landlords where they put their rental property in their personal name and it's not in an LLC. Because if a landlord has a home in their personal name, they're inexperienced. They don't know if something happens at that house, they're liable.
What do you mean, like a lawsuit?
A lawsuit.
Right.
So we're targeting all these. So when my team calls a lead, the person we're calling doesn't know everything that we know about them. Like they don't know we're going into this call thinking you just spent 3 to 5 minutes with a cold call company in another country, answering questions about your house. I know you got at least 20% equity. I know you don't live in the house. And I know more than likely you got a tenant in there that's paying you below market rent. That's pretty good ammunition going into a phone call.
Very. Yeah, you know a lot on.
Yeah.
I like this model a lot because it seems kind of recession-proof too.
I think it is. Everyone, when the market was correcting itself in this industry that I'm in, they got spooked.
Right.
What I did was I broke the lease on a 2,000 square foot office, moved into a 6,000 square foot office, and tripled my team.
Yeah, because it's just brokering deals. So no matter the price, it doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah. And we're trying to buy homes. So like when we buy houses, we want to try to get them, when we make offers on houses, we want to get them typically 70% or lower of the market value.
Wow. That makes sense. Because if you're getting at a 20, 30% discount, then you're in
Then there's a buffer to go and sell it to somebody.
Right. You can make the difference basically.
Dude, our average, they call it an assignment fee when you assign the contract. Since I've been doing this for 2.5 years, our average assignment fee is 22 grand.
Wow. That's a really high average order value.
Not bad, dude.
Not bad at all. And you're
Yeah.
doing 2.6 a day. So
Yeah.
you must be doing over 10 mil a year.
So we have about a 45% cancellation rate right now on our contract to close.
Okay.
My first 12 months, I did 2.6. This year, we're going to end right at probably 4 million.
Okay.
We run it at like a 50% profit margin. It was 58 last year. Obviously, as we scaled, that profit margin has went down.
Yeah.
Our goal was 4 million, and we hit it. We should hit it this year.
Nice.
And then next year, we want to try and bump it up again, 2 million. So we want to do 6 million next year.
Nice. So do you think you could scale this to the numbers that the timeshare business was doing?
Good question. I don't know if I want to, man.
You're good at this level?
Yeah, because my brand within this industry, I have my own proprietary software, CRM, that I license out to this industry.
Got it.
I have my call center that anybody that wants to duplicate what I've done in the short period of time, they want to use what I use. So I have a call center in Pakistan. I got over 100 cold callers in an office. So I let people buy my cold callers. And then I offer sales coaching for the industry. So it's like I'm good having multiple.
Yeah, you got other revenue streams.
Yeah. Going, if the wholesale model could do 6 million a year and run it at a decent profit margin, my team's eating as well. Like I'm good with that.
That's cool. It's good that you found that level of comfort where.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like when you were making the 10 mil earlier, you were super stressed, right?
Well, this is it. Actually, so of that last model, on year 9, I was making less money than year 7. So when we were scaling, the numbers crossed at some point.
Right.
Where we were working much harder, me, my wife, and our partner, to make less money. The liability, all the team members and the exposure in the industry, we got so big, and we were making less. The last year and a half of that business, we were making less than year 7.
That's the scary part about hiring, because you never know when that tipping point is, right?
Yeah.
Where you're making less and you're working twice as hard.
And it was my first go around ever, owning my own business. And the way it took off, like I said, man, it was crazy. Like it happened very fast. I didn't even know you could sell businesses. Like I was that naive. Where my buddy, he's my dear friend today now, but he was getting us a mortgage on that house, and he was like, "Bro, what do you do?" And I was like, "I help people get out of timeshares." And he started looking at our financials, and he goes, "Have you ever thought about selling this business?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't know you could sell businesses.
Yeah.
So he's the one that kind of put everything together and got us to where we could. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, no one really teaches that. I mean,
I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's super important to be able to build your business with the idea of selling, because you need a lot of stuff in order to be able to do that.
Of course, yeah.
Sounds like your wife has played a major role in your success.
She's my rock, bro.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my fiance. How did you guys meet and build this relationship together?
Yeah, so she's my day one. I left Chicago because I'm from Chicago, and I left there to go to a treatment center. Literally had $8 in my name, flew down to, someone put me on a plane to go down to Fort Lauderdale to check me into a treatment center.
Why'd you go all the way there to go?
They flew me there. At this point, people were telling me you need to do this, and I was doing it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was out of I just was going to do anything anyone said so I could get away from where I was at. And he put me on a plane. When I flew down to Fort Lauderdale, I literally had 2 white Hanes t-shirts and 2 pairs of shorts. And I had $8. And I went into a treatment center, and I was there for 60 days.
Wow.
And they would put us on they would all put us in this white van, and they'd cart us to these NA meetings, Narcotics Anonymous. And I was in an all-male facility, and they would bring us out to these meetings, and there was girls there. And for us, it was like a treat, dude. You know what I mean? Being locked up with a bunch of men. And the last 3 days before I got out of treatment, my now wife would come to these meetings. And I'm like, damn, dude, this is a hot chick. And like full transparency, I thought she was lesbian because she had her best friend with her. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with these two. But we exchanged. She wasn't a lesbian. And then nothing wrong with lesbians. And So 3 days before I got out, we exchanged phone numbers.
Okay.
And when I got out of the day I got out of treatment, she picked me up and brought me to a Starbucks. And I spent the last $8 I had on our first date.
Wow.
And she, we've literally been together since the day I got out of treatment.
That's crazy.
And it's been it's been 14 years.
So you were dating long distance at first?
No, she lived in Fort Lauderdale.
But you were in Chicago, I thought.
No, I flew to Fort Lauderdale to go to treatment.
Okay.
When I was in treatment, they would bring us to these meetings.
Oh.
So I was in Fort Lauderdale.
Got it.
I had intentions, Sean, of going to Fort Lauderdale, going to treatment, after that, going back to Chicago.
Got it.
I was a union carpenter in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, I'm going to go down there and get my stuff together, get clean, and then I'll go back and I'll live back in Chicago and I'll build high rises. But right before I got out of treatment, a suggestion was you should probably go to a halfway house down here and live in structured living. So I did that for 6 or 7 months. But my Shyla's her name, dude. She's been my rock, man. I always tell everybody, like, I've never had somebody that really said, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. You can do that. You can do this. And man, she's my biggest cheerleader. She tells me so much. She believes in me, and you're going to change the world. When you got someone like that in your corner, dude, it's hard not.
Yeah. I always tell guys, like, you can't beat a good girl by your side, man.
No.
They just protect you spiritually.
Everything.
Like, they're great.
They are. That behind every good man's a good woman. It's like, man, she's right beside me.
Facts.
We've been business partners since the day we started our business together. We've been in business. Like, she's my ride or die. She's the backbone of every business we've been in.
Man, she's really been there from day one for you.
Dude,
rock bottom.
Day one.
That's how you know she's a real one.
Day one, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome to see, man.
Yeah.
And you're able to mix business and personal with her, which is, Yeah,
now, don't get me wrong. There have been times right? We've been married and business partners. So we're husband and wife and business partners. So I would say this model that we're doing now, the wholesaling industry and me building my brand, she loves the fact that she can help build my brand. She believes in my brand. Like, I'm the reason I'm doing the brand, or she is the reason I'm doing it. Because she's like, Eric, you have something. You got to get this out there. So she believed in it before I did. And it has allowed her to be involved in something she truly loves to do. Like, she loves being involved with my brand.
Right.
Like, absolutely loves it. But there have been conversations, though, where it was rough.
It's inevitable. When you mix the two, there's always going to be some sort of argument,
Yeah, but we have found right now we are in such a good place. And we both say it. We're both doing 75 hard together right now. Every single morning, we're getting up at 5:30. We go on a 45-minute walk together, and we're talking. Life's good, man.
Beautiful. Yeah, those walks, man, especially when you don't bring your phone, something feels good about being in nature.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Eric, your story's super inspiring, man. Great episode. Anything you want to close off with or promote?
No, man, I appreciate you having me out here. I mean, I will say this, if anybody needs virtual assistance for generating leads in the wholesaling space or the solar space, hit me up. I can give you trained callers by me. And if you struggle closing deals over the phone, I am your guy. They call me the sales goat virtual sales goat for a reason.
Let's go. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.